Happy Monday, I'm Rob Mack.
And I'm Jessica Moyer. This is EverTalk Live, coming to you live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m., streaming on all things social at EverTalk Live, and of course on Apple TV and Roku via the EverTalk app.
Yes, happy Monday, Jess. How are you?
Happy Monday. You know, it's an interesting thing. The whole city of Los Angeles, the entire world is mourning the death of Kobe Bryant, but LA especially.
I know, it's unbelievable. I mean, totally surreal. You know, woke up Sunday, received text messages about it, like a whole litany of text messages, and I didn't believe it at first. I mean, it was super unsettling, and then went online and double checked, and it turns out to be true. I mean, unbelievable, so devastating. Went to the gym today, and everybody was so somber. I mean, all the Lakers gear, all the Lakers paraphernalia, and just totally unreal, huh?
Totally unreal. Of course, last night was also the Grammys in Kobe's house. Right?
Unbelievable, yeah.
At LA Live, at the Lakers Stadium, and it was really, really incredible just to see how everyone was really dedicating performances and really, you know, giving tributes to Kobe. But even when I went to Trader Joe's, people were talking about it.
Yeah.
It's all anybody can talk about.
Yeah, just
it
incredible.
Really is. I mean, for so many millions of people who have never met a person, to know that his life was an inspiration to so many is just truly breathtaking.
Oh my goodness, totally. I mean, I think Alicia Keys spoke to it eloquently last night. She was like, as you said, Jez, this is the house that Kobe built, and they were there.
Yeah.
And the Lizzo performance, unbelievable. Alicia Keys and Boyz II Men, I mean, just unreal. And you're right, you know, I personally have been inspired by Kobe in so many ways. I mean, I wanted to be a professional basketball player since my first memory. I wanted to be a basketball player. First it was Jordan, and then, you know, it was different athletes along the way, but always Kobe inspired me in ways because of not only his talent, but also his mindset, you know, incredible skill set, but his mindset, I think, really, and what he embodied both as a professional basketball player, but also just as a person. I mean, he was one of these people who was always committed to, like, getting better and doing better, you know, no matter what kinds of adversity he faced in his life. He was just one of those people that just had his mindset on becoming better, and I love that.
Wow. I couldn't have said it better myself. So our hearts and our prayers are with you.
I know, yeah. That's right. And his 3 surviving daughters, his wife, his family, friends. I mean, everybody's touched by Kobe Bryant some way.
Well, and congratulations to Billie Eilish, too.
Yes,
by
oh my
the
gosh,
way.
totally.
Best record, best album, artist of the year, youngest to ever win best new artist of the year.
You know what's great about her speech was that she said, you know, she jokes around a lot, but that she felt genuinely, like, inspired to be sincere about how much gratitude she felt. I thought it was awesome because she's kind of a jokester, but just incredible. I mean, my goodness.
Oh, absolutely. It was funny to watch her accept one Grammy after another. She's like, I don't even know who to thank anymore.
Yeah, totally.
But that was really special. She had my vote all along.
Yeah.
Bad Guy was my favorite song of last year.
Yes, indeed. Who else you got on your playlist these days, Jez? Anybody else who won? Probably all of them, I guess.
Oh, nobody else who won, but I love Julia Michaels right now. Obsessed with that song,
man.
17. 1, because 17 is my lucky number, and 2, I think it's a total vibe. So.
Why is 17 your lucky number? When do you remember, like, 17 becoming your lucky number?
I remember it vividly. I was at the local movie theater where I grew up in a small town in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and there was this arcade machine that was set up to be like a mind reader, and I put my palms on it. Do you remember this old Zelda, I think her name was, and Zelda spit out your fortune, and she spit out lucky numbers, and she spit out 17, and I thought, yes, Zelda, 17 is my lucky number, and I've just stuck with it.
That's funny. I remember, you know what, I remember that machine from the movie Big with Tom Hanks, and I always became obsessed with the machine because of the movie. And then I remember seeing one finally out and about, but I never actually tried the machine. I didn't know what it actually did. I think there's one in Santa Monica Pier.
Okay, Rob, I will take you to Santa Monica Pier, and we will try it.
Yeah.
17 didn't work well for me this weekend.
Yeah,
no, well,
so
you know, I was gambling.
Yeah.
I was gambling, so we have this bi-monthly poker party, some friends of mine and I like to think I'm the golden whale. I've had dreams about it, whatever. And I actually have won several of these games.
Really?
Everyone underestimates me.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Leaves me in a very powerful position.
Yes.
So anyway, it was just
hilarious.
a really good time to get together with friends and to catch up.
There's something lucky about whether it's 17 or 7. I've always been obsessed with the number 7. And then, of course, 21, don't know why. I think that was like Dominique Wilkins' number. 23, because it was Michael Jordan. 24, Kobe, because he always said he wanted to be one up on Michael Jordan. But I love that you have a lucky number. I always did too. And I feel like, you know, it actually, and it's funny that you say this because it kind of brings us to one of the topics I wanted to talk to today, which was like synchronicity and like coincidence and serendipity, right?
Right.
How weird is that? I mean, so
you read my mind, Rob. Speaking of synchronicity, like so many times I feel like I'm like, is Rob in my brain?
I know. We do sometimes share a mind.
We
You
do.
just give me a look, and I'm like, oh yeah, I know. It's like a download, and then I'm like, how did I know through a look?
Okay, so break that down for me.
Yeah.
Synchronicity.
So we've all had the experience in our lives when you like think of something, and the next thing you know, it like manifests.
Yes.
Or you just have too many coincidences happen where you're talking about butterflies, and all of a sudden you walk into some kind of butterfly grove, accidentally. But Carl Jung, who was a psychologist, and he was all about science. Later in his life, he kind of grew into this more sort of spiritual like look and feel, and he was very much interested in like synchronicity. So synchronicity is like when you notice meaningful coincidences, or at least they seem meaningful to you. And that's what makes it synchronous, is that it's meaningful. But you can't always attribute a cause to it. So in the scientific world, they call that pseudoscience because it's not falsifiable, you can't really test it. You just know that you've had 2 or 3 or 4 things happen that to you are very meaningful and seem to have come out of thin air. But like, how do you make sense of it? Where does it come from? And I think we've all had those experiences in our life. I know I have. Have you?
This happens to me all the time, especially lately. And to the point where I started wondering, like, am I crazy? And I follow this Instagram account called Moon Omens. I talk about it often. And literally, so I was like, I must be crazy. This happened to me just yesterday. I pulled up Moon Omens and it said, what's happening to you is not random. And I thought, okay, that is synchronicity even right in and of itself. Because just when I'm questioning or doubting myself, the universe is speaking to me. Absolutely not.
Wow.
Wow. I mean, honestly, it was so crazy yesterday. I had this person, it's been on my mind and on my heart, and I thought, I should really reconnect with them and see what's going on. And it just was something I thought, I'm just going to meditate on this, right? So I took myself on a hike, and it was a sad day, and I just wanted to spend some time by myself and get perspective change, right? Go up a mountain. So I'm literally trekking up a mountain, no makeup on. I feel like I'm unrecognizable, stealth mode. Nobody recognizes this 6-foot blonde Barbie because I don't have my flashes on. So I'm just trekking up the side of this mountain. I've been crying, having my self-care Sunday, whatever. And I run smack into the person.
You're kidding.
No joke, no lie.
Yeah.
In a true Hollywood form. I'm like, why are they shooting this movie on this hiking trail, whatever, this is so Hollywood? Who's starring in the movie? The person I was thinking about, that I was like, I should really reconnect with them.
Oh.
What are the chances?
Oh my, that's unbelievable. That's just me. I mean, right, how do you make sense of that?
You don't make sense of that. And I'm like, that is pseudoscience in and of itself. I haven't walked up the side of this mountain God knows how long.
Right?
And why on this day am I doing this by myself? Unrecognized. Nope, totally spotted. They were like, oh my God, hi. Stop the shoot, the whole thing. But I was like, mini lessons there. One, don't ride dirty. That's the right process.
Ever.
Don't be seen in public without your best face
That's
forward.
right. You can't get caught riding dirty, Jess. It's a problem, especially in LA. Because everybody's paying attention and everybody's out and about. It's a very small world.
But when was the last time that happened to you? This synergy, pseudoscience, you thought something and then it happened.
I mean, all the time. Like, it happens all the time. Like, literally, we'll think of someone, and then if they don't call, I'll run into them. And it's weird, and it's usually something that's kind of nagging at you, like, and not in an anxious way, but just in a persistent way, like, hey, give this person a call, or check. And then literally, they'll like show up, like you said, right in front of you. I mean, the other day, literally, I was, so after I actually came back from break, went to Miami, came back, I was in the store, and I've got this friend I work out in the gym with in the mornings, and I thought I should really hit him up and see how he's doing, literally. And it was on my mind. I was like, the first thing I'm gonna do when I get out of the store is I'm going to hit him, tap, tap, tap on my shoulder, literally at that moment. And he's like, Rob! And I'm like, dude, what? And it's like, there's so many possibilities there. Like, so many people could have tapped me on the shoulder or not seen me, but I always find that so interesting.
I had a conversation about this topic with somebody the other day over dinner, and they said to me, is your life the Truman Show? Remember that movie with Jim Carrey? And he doesn't realize that his life is actually a reality show, that everyone's playing these characters and the dome ends after a certain point. Sometimes you really begin to wonder.
Yeah, it's true. There was a period in my life when I always felt like, every segment of my day, or certainly certain days, had like a theme song associated. that was also part of it. Like, I remember after I'd seen The Truman Show, and I was like, wow, maybe I am actually in it. It feels weird that way, doesn't it?
It feels weird that way because sometimes I think the universe speaks to me in music, right? When you flip on the radio or you plug your phone in and just a random song starts playing and you're like, why is this song playing all of the time?
So that brings up a good point, because I do think, so in my life, I've noticed that there are some like mediums or venues where the synchronicity and serendipity either is registered for me like more clearly, or where it just seems to happen more consistently. So for instance, books. So if I'm ever wanting an answer in my life, or I'm frustrated about something and I want to figure something out, literally, if I go to a book, I will literally open the page, or I'll pick up the right book, and I'll just start, and not more than 30 seconds in, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I was literally trying to figure this out. I sort of let it go for a second, went to the books, and it's there. Like, always there. It sounds like with you, it's kind of music.
Yeah, the universe has never spoken to me through a book. But,
maybe through the stocks.
But it does, exactly. Maybe through the stock market. I'll keep my mind on that, meditate on that. No, music has been huge to me in numbers.
In numbers.
In numbers, sequential numbers, 1111. I wonder, for a lot of people, they see 1111. I have even a girlfriend, Eden Sassoon. She's got 1111 tattooed on her wrist. I mean, it's a number that really signifies protection, and supposedly it's a message from Archangel Michael, whatever it is that you believe. I think there is some pseudoscience in that. I see 1111 all the time. I see 222 all of the time. And whenever I'm feeling homesick, I see my area code, 616.
Really?
It's a really interesting thing, and it does make me feel really protected. That whatever it is, the angels, the spirit guides, the universe, something is guiding me. So I just have to trust that.
Yeah, see, and this is what I love about it. Like, so scientists, like really pure scientists will say, because it's pseudoscience and because you can't falsify it or test it, it really is outside the scope and bounds of science, and it's something that statistics itself can explain away. Just the law of large numbers. That as human beings, we tend to remember hits more than misses, right? So all day long, misses, like every moment, every opportunity, like every interaction, when you're at the stoplight, all these people, you don't know any of them. At some point in the day, the law of sort of averages, like, leads to a place where it's finally like you get a hit. And then because the hit is so memorable and you have an emotion attached to it because it's somebody that you know or something that means something to you, then you suddenly sort of assign more value to it than it deserves. But Carl Jung, of course, and so Carl Jung was like attacked later in his life because of that. But he had other people in his life, like Albert Einstein and whatnot, who said, listen, there's something here that we should look at, which sort of speaks to like the interdependence of the world and the planet, and also the ways in which like maybe there's something bigger and larger and more meaningful going on than our rational brain can ever possibly capture, right? So it's just interesting to me, and the fact that it provides you peace, I think, is everything, because that's how I feel.
Well, I'm glad you feel that way too, so I don't feel crazy in that. Now, I think there's something to be said too about like trusting your intuition in that, because so many times if you follow your gut, right? I equate your gut to be your intuition, and that's when something like that happens. I find that very validating. My gut was telling me, go outside, just go on this hike, even though you're going by yourself. And I followed my gut, I followed my intuition, and that's when something like that happens. Yeah,
it's wild. I agree with you. I think, so part of, like, I think the invitation for me is to dial into those practices or be with those people or do those things that let me notice the synchronicity more and the serendipity more. I mean, it's like that book, When God Blinks. In some ways, that's the kind of expression, is that God is blinking, divine is blinking, universe essentially is, helping you notice what's already always there. But when you're distracted or you're rushing or you're fussing or you're just caught up in the busyness of life, you don't notice.
You missed all of that entirely.
You missed all of it, exactly. Kind of wild.
Super wild. I mean, I think just being here and being present this morning, the fact that you even brought that up and that's been so on my mind and heart, we didn't plan that.
Exactly. Which is kind of wild, which and it's funny because I was like, I'm not going to talk about it unless it happens, serendipitously, and it did.
It did. Have you ever seen the movie Serendipity?
No, I haven't.
Oh my gosh, great
film.
Must-see. Must-see. And then you also have to go to that little restaurant in New York. And you can do the other one in Las Vegas with Serendipity in New York. Is where it's all.
I gotta see.
Oh, get that hot fudge sundae, indulge. Oh, it's so good.
I got a feeling, I'll be checking that out this week. You always give me great recommendations. No. Recently, it's been the Wall Street stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you and Andy, so.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know, I've been waking up super early and hosting a live 30-minute show at the opening bell. That's right, the opening bell being the stock market. And so most people don't realize that I'm also a stock trader.
Which is, well, my family does, because they all watch.
They're my biggest fans.
And they're taking all your stock tips and they're putting them to good use.
Well, that being said, I don't encourage anyone to buy or sell. I'm simply here to educate, to inform, and to entertain, but do what you will. And I hope you make some good profits.
Right, indeed. Oh, wow. Love that, Jazz.
So we've got a very special interview we want to share with you coming up after the break. The co-author of Kobe Bryant's latest children's book, Epica. Stay tuned. We'll be back more on EverTalk Live.
I'm Rob Mack.
And I'm Jessamine Moyer. This is EverTalk Live, coming to you live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. in the Ever Media Studios for a little Hollywood and happiness, positivity, and pop culture. On Apple TV and Roku via the EverTalk app, and of course streaming live on all socials.
I've got so much love in my life, and then I get to do this with you every single day. I mean, it's incredible.
If you have a dream, do not let anything stop you.
You can have all the money or all the success in the world, but if you don't have peace, it's all worthless, really, right?
Happiness from the inside out. Please be sure, if you haven't read this book,
Sweet.
You've got to.
I love
what we do.
I do too, Jess.
Miracles. I'd like just my life to be an example that miracles exist. I am just so grateful that we get to be a part of this journey together, Rob, whether it's 4 a.m. texting up peanut butter and jellies or coming to you live Monday through Friday every 9 a.m. You know when you're going to see that, Eddie?
Yes.
When we're holding it in our own hands,
that's
Rob,
right.
For best digital daytime talk show.
What makes people lucky, like actually lucky, is that they believe they're lucky.
But thank you for being my mentor, Rob.
Likewise.
You didn't even know it.
True. Yeah.
I'm out all the time. I'm everywhere. I'm drinking my wine. I'm doing the show. I'm stepping and repeating on some kind of red carpet. I had a little too much. I said, one drink Jeslin. One drink Jeslin. 2 tequila Jeslin. 2 tequila Jeslin.
1 drink Jazz.
Is this 1 drink Jeslin? I hope you're proud, Rob.
I'm very
reading
proud
a
of you,
book.
actually. I don't know how you have the hair is killing it today.
Oh. Thank you. Clearly, we have no fun around here. It's a thing. Thought of the day: light, love, and magic. Oh, I do it fun. It was wild. Absolutely. Oh my God! Do you know we're still on live, Rob? Right now.
You gotta be kidding.
Talking to my angels.
That's hilarious.
What you do, you don't work a day in your life, right? I absolutely love what I do.
Yeah,
we couldn't do what we do without the support of you watching. Thank you for sharing, for DMing, for commenting, for continuing to support us as we grow and scale our vision. For the people in the studio and their friends and families for having our backs. We're so grateful.
That's right. And I'm most deeply and genuinely grateful for you. Truly I am, Jazz. It's just a pleasure every day to get to connect with you and work with you. It's amazing.
Oh, thank you. I'm so grateful for you. We love you, Rob Mack. There isn't a man or woman who hasn't met you and said you're the best dressed person in Los Angeles and the happiest guy we know. It's an honor to be able to do the show with you.
Appreciate that.
Welcome back to EverTalk Live. We are here with Ivy Claire. She's an incredible writer, novelist, and today we're celebrating Epica and finding strengths against all odds. Thank you so much for being with us today.
It's great to be here.
Congrats on the book.
Thanks.
So tell us a little bit about the book and your collaboration with Kobe Bryant.
So this is a book that Kobe and I started working on about 3 years ago. He called me out of the blue one day. He was looking for a novelist who was also an ex-professional athlete, and I used to be a professional squash player, and who also had a degree in classics, which I think I was the only person on earth who fit this description. He had this wild...
True. Yeah, for sure that.
He had this wild idea that had consumed him during his last year in the NBA when he was sort of injury riddled and like thinking about the next step in his career. And his idea was to create this sports fantasy world for middle grade to young adult readers. And he said he spent all the time like on the sidelines in the hotel room just like developing this world in his head, and like it became an obsession. And the year he retired, he started to make this come to life. So he hired a bunch of writers. I was the first one. And this was the initial way into the world. It's set in this alternate version of classical Greece, where sports have replaced sort of war and politics. So there's two rival factions, the dreamers and the realists. And the book is about Princess Prisha, who's from a sort of, obviously a royal family, and Rovi, who's from like a sort of street culture called the Star Stealers. And they arrive at the most elite sports academy in the country, and they have to overcome a lot of obstacles.
Wow, so cool. So of course I've got two questions. And
Yes.
one is like, what fascinates you most about the book and the story, but what also fascinates you most about the mind of Kobe Bryant?
Well, let me take that second one first. Kobe's mind is fascinating. He is incredibly imaginative, and he's actually a great writer. I mean, I know a lot of people are surprised that athletes can also be artistic, but, athleticism and art really go hand in hand. To be truly great at sports, you have to be creative and, do things that are sort of outside the realm of conventional possibility. He comes up with these wild stories, and sometimes they seem a little out there, and then I get a little stressed out because I'm like, oh my God, wait, what is it you want me to do? And the next morning he'll call with this amazing solution. And everything is really well thought out that he comes up with. It's not just random. It's not, just spurting ideas. It's really considered, and he really thinks a lot about like what it means to be a child who's learning things. It's not always easy. So he's very happy to tackle the harder questions. This book is really fun, but these kids go through some tough stuff, which is like life, And what do I like best about the book? Well, one of the things I like about this book is how cool it looks. Let me
It's
show
beautiful.
you.
The quality is
First of
incredible.
all, it's like one of the most beautiful books I've ever seen. It's hardback only, and we're not doing paperbacks. And look at the pages.
Wow.
I mean, it's pretty great, right?
Really beautiful,
The
yeah.
colors mirror Princess Prisha's emotional journey through the book, so it really changes colors. It's like a hypercolor shirt, and so that's what I love it. The fact that I think it's so well written and it was so much fun to write, but the production values they did on this book really mirror how great the words are. It's just incredible.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It's also a message about channeling emotion.
Yes, absolutely.
And what's that experience been like for you as a mother and witnessing your daughter learning how to channel her emotions?
Question.
Well, I'm not very good at having her channel her emotions. That's my greatest failing as a mother. She is just an emotional roller coaster all the time, which is great. I think she should express herself, maybe not quite so much so early in the morning. Yeah. But no, she's, it's hard for kids to understand what they're feeling inside all the time, and that those emotions and the way she's expressing them have, an effect on other people. And so it's, that's the biggest challenge, is sort of allowing her to be expressive of her emotions, but also to allow her to, have those feelings.
Rein her in, huh?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. You don't want to do too much. Yeah.
As kids, I think my parents channeled it right down the candy aisle.
Yeah.
We're like, that'll be a solution. We'll stop crying or acting up for a little while at least.
But you also channeled it onto the basketball court.
Absolutely, yeah. That was a huge, sports for me was such a huge part of my childhood. And it really did help me sort of channel my emotion and regulate my emotion too, because there are rules.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
You will get kicked out of the game, or get kicked out of the league.
Or that sport. The cool thing about sports is there are rules. There's a way. If you break those rules, you're cheating.
Yes.
And I love sports. Obviously, my daughter, when she runs around, she feels a lot better. But it's so great to go into a world where the world is random in general. But you go on a basketball court, you can't do certain things. You can't step out of bounds. You can't, travel. I just think that sports provide this regulation that we're missing in, real life.
I love this point, and it's been sort of one of the challenging opportunities of my life, which is to understand sort of the places where rules are really important, but then the places where actually sort of being ruleless is more important. So like creativity or writing a book, that's when you want to throw a lot of the rules out the window.
Well, it's a really funny point you bring up because this book, as I mentioned before, there are two rival factions, the dreamers and the realists. And they have two approaches to that. So the realists are very rule driven. And not that the dreamers cheat at all, but they have a more creative approach to solving problems. So the realists go in and they're very direct and they're very like literal. And the dreamers have a much more creative approach. So it's like two different interpretations following the rules. So it's really interesting.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
So are any of the characters kind of Kobe Bryant version?
He and I both say all of them are all of us. Like he and I see ourselves in both of them, and both Rovi and Prisha. There is this third character, Vera, who's sort of the most pure embodiment of an athlete. She's super competitive. Her story sort of is the true sports story, and we both love her because we see ourselves in her. Like she's super driven, but her emotions can get the best of her. Because a lot of the book is dealing with, and one of the reasons Kobe wanted to write this, especially for young athletes or really anyone, because athletics are just one form of like expression. It's like sometimes if your emotions get the better of you, you can't perform your best. So like Vera, when she's getting stressed out, the sport becomes impossible. And Kobe would say, like, if you're really stressed out and you're trying to shoot a basket, the hoop gets smaller and smaller and smaller, you can't get it in there. But there's days when you're like, super relaxed and in the zone, it's like the size of a swimming pool and you're never gonna miss. So like the book is really about channeling your emotions so that you can perform at your best.
Love that.
Absolutely love it. Thank you so much for sharing this with us.
treat.
Please tell everyone where they can find and follow and get this book.
Well, you can buy this book absolutely anywhere books are sold, online at all the retailers. It's called Epica, the Tree of Acroft, and it comes out Tuesday, November 12th.
Congratulations.
Amazing.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Ivy. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more on EverTalk Live.
Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to EverTalk Live on this happy Monday and also sad Monday. Right?
Yes, absolutely. That was a special look at one of our former interviews with Ivy Claire, who was the co-author of Epica, the Tree of Life book with Kobe Bryant.
Really fascinating to me. You know, of course, I was like so interested really in the mindset of Kobe, not just on the court, but also like when it came to like creating that book. Just fascinating to me. I know that so much of his life was about discipline and rules, but there's a point where you also want to like exercise creative license, and I love that she was able to sort of capture that in the interview. Really fantastic interview.
Absolutely, and I'm honored that we each have copies of that.
Indeed.
Of course, they're still available on Amazon if anyone else is interested. Speaking of new books, I am proud to share with you tonight at 10, Kicking Booze and Breaking the News, recently launched by Courtney Friel, who you've seen on this show. Obviously, she has her own show here on the EverTalk Network, Keeping It Friel. So we're really excited. Yesterday, she was meant to be here this morning to announce this book, but she was, covering the news 8 hours live, the stories of Kobe Bryant. I have the utmost respect for Courtney and anyone in the news who really has to be responsible for sharing, whether it's good news or bad news, the heartbreaking stories.
Oh my goodness.
Like
I mean,
that.
just to maintain the energy the entire time, you don't really get to take much of a break. And she's always so incredibly kind as well every time we've had her on she's just such a light.
She really, really is. So we look forward to having her on the show. But in the meantime, until she can come, be sure to get your copy of Tonight at 10.
Yes,
Courtney
I love the size of the book too. I'm thinking a book.
And how genius is this cover?
I know.
By the way, okay, so half of her is, like the falling apart, the booze. And then this is, I've got it all together, wearing Valentinos and meditating at the same time. Genius,
Right?
Courtney Farrell.
Exactly.
Just genius.
One foot in both worlds, literally.
Well, we love her so much. Tomorrow's going to be a great show.
Indeed, it will be. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We're going to see you guys tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific
9 a.m.
time.
That's right. We're streaming live on all things social at EverTalk Live, and of course on Apple TV and Roku via the EverTalk app. And don't forget, we will be coming to you, Miami.
That's right. Cannot wait. March 6th.
It's going to be so good. Happy Monday, Rob.
Happy Monday. Have a great day.